Hi, everybody. So we are joined by Kenny Messis. He is, well, he's a longtime quadriplegic. It's always weird to say something like that, but he's been paralyzed longer than I have, which is always good to talk to someone that has all this experience to share. And he's been working at a variety of places as well, which is why he is here to share his work history and what he's been up to all these years. So, hey, Kenny, how are you?
Good afternoon, Tiffany. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm doing very good today. Thanks.
So great to meet you here. I know we got connected on Twitter on the Spinal PD account, and so I was like, wow, I don't know if I've met you before in any other spinal cord injury support group. So it's nice to meet you. So if you don't mind sharing with all of our listeners how you were injured and all of that, please.
Okay, like you said, I am a long-time injury. Gosh, I was originally injured in one vehicle rollover car accident, and happened on a Saturday afternoon, December 12th, 1987.
Okay.
I was on my way. A friend was giving me a ride to get ready to go to work. At that time, I was a roughneck on an oil rig. So
oh wow,
very active,
rig.
very physically demanding job.
Okay.
And went from being very working hard physically to waking up in a ICU with a bunch of bells and things keeping me alive.
That's so, and you were in your early 20s, right?
I was 23 years old at the time.
That's always a difficult age when you're a young and strapping young man at the height of your physicality.
Yes, it was. It was. I mean, it was a total, from night and day. It was a total. I was very active athletically. In high school, I was a quarterback and shortstop, and played sports. Went to college. Was trying to make some more money to go back to school.
Right.
All over the place, but.
Oh my gosh, so when you got your injury and you were in rehab, I know we could always talk about going through it because I know you had a hard time in the beginning. So, transitioning into life as a quadriplegic is one of the hardest things you can do as a human being. And I know on Twitter you told me you went through a rough patch. Do you mind sharing that a little bit with us?
Not at all. I don't. I was fortunate enough to get to spend the last month of my injury at Craig Hospital in Inglewood, Colorado, which is a great center for.
Oh yeah.
And I say lucky because they taught me in that month. They taught me a lot about what it was really going to take to survive in the real world. The rough patch I went through was that before my injury, I was studying to be an attorney, and so I knew a little bit about law. And one thing that I knew was that I could talk to an attorney for an hour at a time for free, and so I kept speaking to different attorneys and started learning more and more about my own case. And long story short, I managed to get a pretty significant settlement in, which was a good thing, but it also wasn't such a good thing because I didn't realize once I got back home the anger and things that would set in, the depression and stuff. And I started drinking, and I became very good at it. And became an alcoholic. And I took one of my greatest dates is March 19th, 1994, because that was the day I decided to become sober.
Oh, and awesome! So, that's great.
Yeah, that's been it's been a long time. So
that's a really long time. Congratulations. I know that's not easy. My father has been sober since 1992 as well, and he went through AA.
Oh wow, so that is
congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I know that's not easy, and so all these years now since that time, I imagine being sober, we're all clear-headed, and you're ready to kind of live life. So what was your goal? I know you said you were going to study to be an attorney. So
no, that was before I was getting here. That was my goal. And then so when I sobered up, I really didn't know what to do. I had all this time on my hands, so computers were coming out. I invested in a computer system, and I started doing income taxes.
Okay.
I think I probably bought one of the original copies of TurboTax.
No way. Cool.
Yeah. So I became an income tax kind of a guru, and I would do taxes for people, and it was a good way to keep busy. And
that's a good idea.
And then,
Now, did you go to school for that, or did you just teach
no,
yourself how to do it?
I just taught myself. I
Okay.
realized that, I didn't realize at the time, but I'm very adept at learning new software, to not only learning but teaching. So that was something it was a great experience. I love numbers, always have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so yeah, that was a good way to keep busy and to make a little bit of money too on the side.
Cool.
Yeah, and then in 1997, I started noticing that I was losing wind. I love to sing. I'm not very good at it, but I do love to sing. And I noticed that it was taking a lot more effort to do.
Oh.
And so I thought, well, one thing I can do is go back to physical therapy. They always told me come back to therapy. And so at that time, on being on Medicaid, and that I was able to go to therapy a few times a month.
Okay.
And so I met a great therapist. And she motivated me, started asking me all these questions. Kitty, you're very smart. How come you're not in college? And then she had a boyfriend who was also a physical therapist, and we met one night. She brought him over, and they were talking about me. And so they came over to my house. They showed up at about 7 o'clock in the evening, and he goes, "What do you mean you're not driving? What do you mean,
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you mean you don't transfer by yourself? I was in a manual wheelchair at the time because I overheard doctors saying that I would never be able to push myself. And so probably should have never heard that discussion. But anyway, I decided I would push myself around for 12 years.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. I know quite a number of quads that do push themselves. It's a good exercise.
It is. It's very good exercise. And so going back to therapy, I ended up going back to college. And I met a good friend, Don Yoxheimer. We're still good friends to this day. I consider him a mentor. He was also a quad, but he used crutches, and that takes a lot of effort too. He was driving. He was he was my first college professor.
No way.
And he encouraged me. He said, "Hey, these computers are going to be around for a long time." So my first degree was in interactive multimedia design, which isn't even a thing anymore, I don't think. But I learned how to do Photoshop and stuff like that, and got very interested in school and realizing that's my way out.
Yeah, good.
And so it has been. And I went back to school, and fortunately I was a good student. I graduated community college in 2 years. Managed to get all A's, and that became kind of a goal of mine, was to become a good student. So
that's awesome. So what was your degree at the community college?
It was I got an AS degree, Associate of Science. And it was pretty much an interactive multimedia design.
So you're all about computer jobs. So what was your what were you doing in the computer world in the 90s then?
In the 90s, small town, Mark, Colorado, we had a bus plan at the time. And so I needed to do some kind of an internship with one of the things that they wanted me to try and do. And so in 1999, I went to work for Neoplan, and I would go there, and I was doing animation.
Cool.
I would do, they had bus designs. I would learn the bus, I would build it in an animation program, and then I would do whatever they wanted it to do. And then I also did some welding animations it was a project that was a grant project that the college had got, and they needed my assistance on. And so just anything that would come my way, I would kind of do that. There was some, the police department needed some logos done for their side of their cars, things like that. Just
cool.
Anything I could do, yeah.
So were you mostly doing freelance work then, or did you ever snag a full-time or part-time job anywhere?
It was pretty much freelance. I was tutoring also. College algebra. I started tutoring college algebra.
Okay, cool. That's another thing. You're like the man of all trades over there.
Well, I needed to learn it, and so I learned it, and then there was the tutor that I was teaching from said, "Hey, these guys I'm going to be leaving, and they need a tutor. You should do it because you're good." So I did. But so I got that was my first little job. Then I went on to a university, Colorado State University in Pueblo, and the first year that was pretty good, and then I kind of stumbled upon my next little adventure was a paid internship in Washington D.C.
Ooh. Oh,
I
wow.
was taking it was a poetry class,
Okay.
and because I was so obsessed with making sure that I got good grades, I was trying to meet this professor, my teacher, and she had a habit of being late. And I was always early, and I was waiting, but I had a class well, there was a professor that was next door to her who noticed my I don't know what overeagerness, I guess, and he told me, he goes, "Hey, you seem like you're pretty eager and you want to do some things." And he goes, "I don't know what your heritage is, but there's a guy. They're having a Hispanic Association of College Universities, and they're doing internships right now. You should go talk to them."
Cool.
And I went over, and they were just about packing up, and I got to meet a gentleman. And anyway, long story short, I applied and got a paid internship
Nice. Nice.
between
Yeah.
May and August of 2001. So I was driving past the Pentagon every day for that summer.
Wow.
Come back, I'm doing classwork the morning of September 11th, and my attendant, who ended up becoming my wife, and but comes in and she goes, "Come and see this." And
you were there in DC on 9/11?
I wasn't in DC. I came home a month earlier.
Wow.
But it was so realistic and so personal because we had been driving by that building, you know.
Yeah, you saw it every day. You saw it every day.
So it made it about real close to home, and so.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
so what was the internship in? What were you like learning out there exactly?
I was helping them design work, web design, and
cool
animation, things like that. Yeah, I did all. I got real good at doing business card type things. So anybody that wanted anything done.
Nice.
Graphically, yeah.
So you went back to Colorado after your internship.
Back to Colorado, and they wanted me to come back, and I kind of wanted to continue my career, my schooling. So 2002, I graduated. Managed to graduate #1 in my class in CSU Pueblo.
Okay.
I decided to get a master's degree, and so I was going on to University of Colorado Springs, University of Colorado at Colorado Springs.
Yep.
But that summer, I got married, and then ended up graduating with a master's degree in 2004 in May. My then wife was pregnant and was going to have a baby, and so I decided to find a job. And I looked and looked and looked. And I don't know what your experience is for interviewing for a job as a quadriplegic, but that can be an experience.
It's not easy. It's like really, really, really hard. And then you finally find this boss that's like really nice, and then you might get lucky.
Yeah, but the interview process is tough, and spasms happen, Oh, guys, starting to remember resume slide, just all kinds of things. Anyway, you always get this, really good job, a pat on the back, and we'll be giving you a call.
Right? And you never hear.
I had a great resume. I've been doing all these things, paid internships, all these great things, good grades. And so I actually had one person accuse me of forging my resume, and I thought, oh, gosh, this is crazy. This is crazy. So I was watching Walmart commercials, and I thought, I went to an interview, and I was at a job fair, and I went up and I talked to the people at Walmart, and next thing I know, I'm an assistant manager at Walmart. Boy, talk about a different world.
So Walmart was the open-minded employer you were looking for.
You know what? They really were. And one thing I learned about Walmart is that if you don't want to work overnights, you get promoted. Okay. And so within a year, I was promoted to a co-manager's position, and I went from Colorado Springs to La Junta, Colorado.
Cool.
And my store manager he said, hey, why don't you, because we did corporate events, we didn't do them, but the company did corporate events. He said, you should do this. You're great at this stuff. And he had a stutter. And so I would go out and I would do all the college, the scholarship presentations, the teacher of the year, all those things that the boss would normally do. He sent me out to do. because I love to do that kind of stuff anyway. And so
Yeah, yeah.
he saw that as a plus, and I started putting on these disability employment events. And so
And
in
fun,
Colorado,
yeah.
I started working with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation in Colorado, when we went from, I think there was 9 people that they had, and we went within like a year, there was over 127 people that were employed at Walmart's now.
No
So
way.
yeah, it was really
Wow.
cool. And so, because what the key was to bringing the managers together,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that are going to do the hiring anyway.
Yeah.
And so, if you could get the people with disabilities past
Mm-hmm.
the HR managers
Mm-hmm.
to actually meet the managers, we found there was a lot more chance that they were going to get a job.
That's great. So I have a question. As a manager working at Walmart, and what are the duties and how did you overcome them as a quadriplegic? Was everything mainly on the computer, or how did you need accommodations?
No. I figured it out. I had to, that's just my life. There was okay, so in a wheelchair, normally one of my things is I go to get under a table and my knees hit the desk.
Yep.
So I would find a workstation and I would get a 4x4, then
Yep.
get 2 4x4s and raise it up that far, and that was all I needed. So then, and I don't know if you see my contraptions here.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, quad cuffs. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of I can type.
Yep.
Well, the only time I've been tested, I could type 35 words a minute still.
No way. 35 words a minute with that? That's really good.
Yeah, I used to be able to type over 100 though, so yeah.
That's way better than me. I use my one little finger to do it, and I like what you do a lot better. So that's nice.
Yeah, it does help. And then it's exercise. It's it's a lot of things, especially if you do a lot of.
I don't know anything about management. Is it really like a people job? Is it all about just like managing people? Yeah.
It really is. Okay. You get to know your folks, and then if you're genuinely concerned about them, their lives, their kids, you talk about that stuff. But then of course instructional communication was my master's degree, so I learned how to train people.
Cool.
And so being able to do that, being able to talk, and being able to just communicate your vision, and being able to explain it clearly, and then getting them to believe in your abilities as a manager, and then that's all.
So that's really great. And when you said you worked the night shift when you first started out there?
Well, that wasn't my first job. My first job was overseeing over 100 cashiers.
Oh wow!
It was $100 million store, the first store I worked at.
I mean, and so what's the typical shift when you would work there? 8 hours? I mean, or could you work longer as a quad, or what was your limit?
Well, I usually worked 12-hour shifts, and so
wow.
And they got to where they had adjusted the schedule, and I was working 3 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, and so my body was able to take that. When I worked overnights, I worked 4 and 4, 4 nights on, 4 nights off.
Wow.
And so it was a tough schedule. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
At the time we had a child, and so it was we had to make it work, but we did.
You did. And did you need caregivers to get in and out of bed, or did you do all that on your own?
Me and my wife was my attendant. I met her in between when I was graduating community college. She ended up going to Pueblo with me, and then with me everywhere I went. Yeah.
So, are you still working at Walmart, or are you retired from Walmart?
I'm retired from Walmart. I worked until August of 2014.
Okay.
And then they changed the schedule, and it required 2 days and then a day, and then the shifts changed, and my body really started having, it was got to be too tough to do. I really physically couldn't do it anymore. The demanding schedule. So I had met Julie Reskin, is my boss now, from the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition.
Okay.
And during my work, they were a group that I brought in to one of my presentations and one of my events that I put on, and I'd worked with them always, just kept in touch and had her email whenever they needed help. They reached out to me, and in Lahaina, I helped a group. Every day every month I would help them with their food and whatever they needed to help. But so when I got done and I told her, she goes, "Well, we'll hire you." And And so I
That's so
started, I
cool.
went to work for them, and now I'm their outreach coordinator.
You're their
Southeast Colorado.
outreach coordinator.
Well,
So
in Southeast Colorado, they're a statewide organization, Colorado-wide. So
okay. Yeah.
I just do the Southeast Colorado part.
Southeast
And
Colorado.
yeah,
All
so
right.
it's
This
very
is
cool.
good. I like to learn about nonprofits so other people we can pass it along. So this is
Oh yeah, the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition. It's an amazing organization. Please
yeah.
do check it out.
Okay.
ccdconline.org.
This is great.
And it's it's a great place. It's ran by people with disabilities, and you advocate for people with disabilities, and we take care of their problems. We're very active legislatively.
Okay.
I take very much pride in that. I co-chair a group it's called One Strong Voice, and it's an organization of disability organizations in Colorado.
Awesome.
And we come together during we meet bi-monthly, and our goal is to not let anything go through legislatively that we don't analyze, and if we need to testify, then we do that. And one of my jobs is to get talking points together. So I'll get a bill, look at it, analyze it, and break it down into talking points so that it can be, so we all have this.
Right. You make it so that you create cliff notes basically, so people understand.
Exactly. So that so that we can all that we're all, we send them out, and they're analyzed by everybody, and if there's any input, then we agree, and if we can't agree, then we disagree with the other organizations, and we support each other that way.
And so I bet with COVID, you're all meeting virtually this year?
Or? Oh boy, we're zoomed out. We've been zoomed, so yeah.
Oh gosh, it sucks, doesn't it? I
know.
Yeah,
you know that world.
Lord of mercy.
But what do? You figure it out. That's what
we are. And so I imagine you're working from home now.
Yeah. And that was because CCDC is actually located in Denver, and I'm 190 miles away here down in Lamar.
Right.
So I've been doing actually virtually for a long time, but there's a lot of traveling involved before, and that's been taken out for now.
Wow. Well, that's so cool. I love Colorado, so shout out to Colorado.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to Telluride in February to do more adaptive skiing. I love to adaptive
good ski. Good for you. Yeah. I'm jealous.
You should go. You should go.
I should. I probably might run into a tree though. I'm pretty crazy.
Don't. They got you. Those guys behind you got you. You just gotta enjoy the ride. Cool. Really.
Wow,
okay. You live in Colorado, so I know people. I know people live in Minnesota and they don't even enjoy the lakes. It's like once you're in the state, you don't really want to do.
Yeah, I understand, but I used to love to ski, so it would definitely be something.
Well, you're doing good out there, Kenny. So, do you have any parting words to share with us before we let you go?
I don't. Just never give up. Always look forward, and then use your friends. I mean, network. Learn how to network and learn how to. Right. There's so many of us out there now, and it's so much better when we work together.
Yeah, I have to.
And vote. Don't forget, get out there and vote.
Get out there and vote. Great advice, Kenny. Thank you so much. I have a great.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to it. And we'll talk about that skiing thing offline.
For sure, man. All right. Have a good one. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Bye. So, hey, everybody, we're joined by our last guest for our Disability Employment Awareness Month series, and Derek. I found him on Twitter, and he said he'd be willing to share his story with us. So, hey, Derek, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So, let's start just the basics. Where are you from? How old are you? What's your level of injury?
I'm in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Okay.
And getting ready for the hurricane.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And we level in C5, C6 injury.
Okay. So how long ago did your injury happen?
It was 29 years, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's a very long time. Mine was 27. So it feels like forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, seems like it.
It's kind of crazy.
I was 18, just out of, just finishing up high school.
Oh, you were? What happened? Was it a car accident?
Just dove into shallow water.
You dove into shallow water too. Yeah, that was how my injury occurred in 1993. Forever ago. So you've been to Mississippi your whole life?
Yeah.
Okay, Mississippi boy, born and bred. So tell us a little bit, I know when you were injured at 18, you probably, were you in college, or what was your, do you have any idea?
It was 3 weeks before high school graduation.
Oh my gosh.
And, luckily I was a good student, so they just went ahead and froze my grades there, and so I didn't have to repeat and was able to graduate and all.
Okay.
And,
So so you were 19 or 18 when you graduated?
18.
18.
18.
Cool. And having a C5-6 injury, it's sorry?
I left rehab and went back to graduation.
Okay.
Had to go back to rehab that night.
Oh, you did. Oh my God. How weird was that? So, okay.
It was pretty wild.
After your injury and, going, did you go off to college, or what was your plan after high school? Did you have any college plans initially after high school?
Oh yeah, I had planned to go right after.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Did you end up going? Where was your school at? How did that go?
Well, at the time I lived in Meridian, Mississippi, which is kind of a east central area of the state, and they plan to go to Ole Miss, which is in the north part of the state.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that college. That's a big school, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so when the semester obviously rolled around, I was still in rehab, so I missed that. So in the spring semester, I went to the local community college in Meridian.
Okay.
And
cool.
And then the next fall, I went on to Ole Miss.
You did. All right. What did you study at Ole Miss?
Finance.
Finance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then got an MBA after that.
That's awesome. MBAs is where it's at. You can get a great job when you have an MBA, huh?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. You got your MBA and you're a C5-6 quad. So you're in your 20s looking for employment. How did that go?
Well, it was, unfortunately, I had to move back to Meridian afterwards. So it was a little limited in that area. I was able to find a job. Wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but
sometimes that's what we do. Yeah.
And but it was family friends, that had a pretty large business, and worked for them for a while.
And cool.
Got into some phone sales with them through the company, but I held out. Excuse me. I held out. I was there for probably I think about 5 years or so.
Okay.
And then the opportunity came that I was looking for to be an investment broker, I guess, or investment advisor.
Investment advisor. Okay. I don't know anything about the finance world. So what exactly does an investment advisor do?
Basically, you find clients and manage their investments.
Okay.
Not 401ks. Well, you can do a 401k for a company, and administer that. You can, IRAs and investment, just individual investment accounts where, you buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, that sort of thing.
So is that the kind of job before the pandemic where you go in the office every day, or were you able to work from home even before the pandemic?
Well, back then, we pretty much went to the office every day. It was really, we have no hours, and we always joke about it. It's the kind of job that you get no time off, and you're always working.
Oh, no.
But and actually, it's pretty freeing. What it meant is, as long as you do your job and you hit your marks, you come into the office. You don't ever come into the office as long as you hit your marks. They don't care.
Nice. So did you ever feel, since you were the one guy in a wheelchair in the office, that you had to kind of prove yourself?
Yeah, I guess I've always felt that way about everything.
Yeah, I
There,
know.
there were a few other people that I knew that had gotten injuries after mine,
Hmm.
and most of them did nothing. I mean, afterwards.
Right? Yeah. So many people don't want to work after their injuries, and it's quite
And
interesting. Hmm.
yeah, I know there's one guy I know that he said he wanted to work, and his company held his job for him. He was an older guy.
Okay.
He was probably in his, I say older, I'm guessing mid to late 30s when he was injured,
Mm.
and his company held his position for him, but he said he just couldn't keep up with it, and
Oh,
couldn't.
yeah.
He was a salesman with a large route, I guess, that for
Oh,
food service, but so he just couldn't keep up, and I just never could sit at home, and I didn't want to live off government,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
do it myself.
And at the end of the day, you make more money anyways, right? Working.
Yeah.
That's, no, I mean, and I think, you're talking about your friend that you met and he didn't want to go back to work because it was too hard. And I think for a lot of people, they do need to change their careers because there's certain workloads that just aren't feasible when you're quadriplegic, right?
Right.
I
Right.
know. And I don't think I could work 60 hours a week. I could do 40 though.
Yeah.
I can do
Oh
40.
yeah.
So do you ever find yourself working overtime? Like how many hours a week do you put in at your job? Are you working right now?
Yeah, I am working. Ironically, I had gotten out of the investment business. So had we another guy and I had eventually opened an independent office,
Oh, cool.
uh, away from the uh, large brokerage firms,
Okay.
and
How did that go?
it went okay. I ended up taking a buyout from my partner on
Oh,
it,
you did.
and
Okay.
got out of that. And did a few different things, and had a food-based business for a little
Really?
while, and
Okay.
did real
Okay.
estate for a little while, and ironically, I'm kind of circling back around and getting back into investments.
Are you?
Yeah. Another one of my friends who had another independent office, I've joined him and
Okay.
been working in marketing for him
Cool.
during this time, and working on studying to get my license back.
Is the license is it expires? Is that how it happens? And you have to renew it?
Yeah, it's been long enough to where it expired, and I'll have to retake the test.
There's a test involved. Okay. It sounds like a pretty cool job if you're someone in a chair, right? If you can just do it from a desk and that's all you
Yeah,
need.
yeah. I mean, you can do it from a desk, and my favorite way was always to be around people and just talk to people, and
Yeah.
in order to find clients. I mean, because
Oh, yeah.
nothing's guaranteed in that kind of job. I mean, they
Right.
don't ever give you clients.
Oh, you find your own.
Yeah, it's all you find your own, but my I don't know the way I've always taken pleasure in it was more of managing the portfolios for people and finding what was right for them and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. So down there, Mississippi, do you have do you ever involve yourself in any disability organizations down there, just out of curiosity?
No, not really.
Okay.
I just I it's hard to find time sometimes almost.
Well,
Um,
you'd be a great peer support for someone with a new injury, I tell you what, because you've been at it for so long and stuff. That's cool. I don't think I've ever came across you before. I think you must lay low down there in Mississippi. I don't think I've seen you doing some crazy blog talking about your life, blasting yourself on the internet. And I've been doing the internet stuff for a while, so it's pretty cool, Derek, that you just been, I
yeah,
think, yeah,
I've always just kept it going and just
doing your
kept
thing,
my nose
right?
to the ground. Yeah, I mean, I've often thought about different ventures to do
Yeah.
and trying to put something together, but nothing at the moment.
Okay. So now what's your long-term goal? Do you have like this whole retirement plan set up for yourself now that you're in you're a financial guy? Are you able to do that? What's
Yeah, I
your,
mean, I have done that. I have some investments of
Yeah.
my own and IRAs that where I sock stuff away and
You're gonna be working. When do you want to retire? At what age would you like to say, done working, I'm done with work? Or are you just gonna work until you die?
I hadn't really thought about it.
You haven't thought about it? Okay.
I mean, who knows?
I'm just sorry. I just like to ask because since you're an investment person, I always think you
Okay.
guys are smart about saving for retirement and all that stuff, which I'm not
Yeah,
good
I mean that's one thing. That's what I've tried to do, and so I don't have a plan. I mean,
yeah.
I guess the way I look at it is different from a lot of people's thought, because when my injury occurred, as I said, I was in Meridian, and they had to transport me to Jackson, and they were going to air flight me, but they couldn't fly because of the weather, and so they told my mom and all that I may not make it. My breathing was too shallow. Now they never intubated me or never had a trach or anything, and so I mean I just look at it like I don't know. People tend to look at me crazy when I tell them nobody gets out of here alive. And my father-in-law reminded me that, or actually he had brain cancer a few years ago.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And died. But it's funny, after he got diagnosed, he would tell people, well, Derek said everybody has an expiration date. and it made it sound like I told him that after I said, that sounds like something I probably said. But I didn't tell him that after he was diagnosed or got sick. But I mean, so I just look at it like, every day is a gift, and I may make it to retirement age, I may not.
Okay, you never know. You never know.
And if I do, that's great. If I don't, what I have will be for my wife.
Your wife? Are you married with children? Did you manage that over the years too, or?
No children.
No children. Okay.
Just my wife.
That's great. Well, I'm gonna let's see. I think I have one more question for you, which is advice for others who are paralyzed and thinking about returning to work. What are like 3 or just some advice you would give to someone who's newly injured and going, is it worth my time?
It's absolutely worth your time. I mean, your life's not over just because you can't walk.
Yeah.
Or even if your my hands don't work real well. I'm C5.
Listen, same with me, man. I know.
But and I don't use a lot of adaptive equipment.
Oh, you don't? Okay, that's cool.
I mean, as far as at work, I use a trackball. And jobs I've had, they've asked me what kind of equipment do we need to get for you. Just a desk that's high enough I can fit under, and a trackball.
Yeah, that's all you need, right? That's good.
Right. And so, but I know others are different situations, but it's I think companies are now more open to hiring people with disabilities.
Oh yeah.
And you're not gonna live your dreams by getting Social Security.
This is true.
And my nephew actually has muscular dystrophy, and he's lived with it since he was a child. And I'm glad I didn't have that.
Right. Oh yeah.
But I've tried to tell him, you gotta want more than just sitting in front of the TV.
It's so yes. People with disabilities can be very successful if they apply themselves, and it's good to let them know that.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, you have a life, and you get out and
Yes, be
Being
proud of
thankful.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. That's some good advice. I think, with the right training and anybody with a disability, I don't care how severe it is, there's a job out there for you and you could probably be good at it. So,
and it took me a while because when I went to Ole Miss,
yeah.
I was 6 months out of rehab
Oh, yeah.
or
That's
less,
hard. Yeah.
and I was really bashful and was unsure that I could be around people or
Yes.
they would accept me
So difficult. I know. Transitioning becoming disabled when you were previously able-bodied is very, very difficult, that transition.
and I mean the best way I guess to make people feel comfortable and whether it's old friends that I've had since before my injury or
Yeah.
friends I've found is just to call them out whenever they either if they try to be over helpful sometimes. Say so I have to do it with my wife actually. She tries to be over helpful sometimes. But or then if they say something that like walk over here or let's walk down and just point it out to them that I can't walk.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to her. I mean, that's my personality. I've always been kind of a smart ass personality.
I can tell. Yeah.
And so I'll call them out when they say something like that.
That's good. That's good. Don't be quiet over there, right? Always. I think that's one thing when you're in a chair. It's hard to be introverted and bashful in a chair because you kind of have to, be your own advocate, and it's sometimes difficult. So, well, that is so cool.
You have to lose your insecurities a lot of times, and but also.
That's so cool though, Derek. You've been doing you've been successful all these years. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And if anyone wants to ask you any questions, can they find you on Twitter? And what's your handle there?
It's elbow949.
Okay, very cool. Elbow949. So yeah, if any quads out there listening want to ask him some advice on finance, jobs, or anything, he's out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, cool, Derek. Thanks again, and have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. So, hey, everybody. We are joined by Allie, and I found her on Twitter. She is in real estate, and I think this is so cool. I only know a couple other people who are paralyzed that do real estate. So, hey, Allie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm using the tools that I have to get by.
And that's what's so nice about living in the 21st century, I suppose, with a spinal cord injury, I guess.
Yes.
So let's dial back a little bit. I don't know much about you. So if you don't mind sharing, like, where you're from, generalities, how old you are, and when you were injured.
Sure. I'm from Miami, Florida. My family mostly Jamaican, but and I got injured September 2018.
Oh, wow, that's
Yes.
pretty recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you injured down there in the Miami area?
Yes. I got into a car accident with some of my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That's one of the most common ways to get a spinal cord injury. It's by far the most common. So that's tough. You're kind of on almost the second year in now. And so I always, I've been paralyzed for 27 years, and being paralyzed, it never gets easier, but you kind of get used to it because life is short and you kind of have to move on. And
you adjust.
You have to adjust. And I wish we could all get better. But I think what's so cool about you, Allie, is that you're working still, which I think a lot of people, they're like, screw it, I'm not going to even work. I can do my own thing and live at home and be boring. But I think for people who like to stay busy, and I'm that kind of person, I'm going to guess you're this kind of same person.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's start with how you got into real estate then. I know that's a really fun job, and I think in Florida it's pretty popular, isn't it?
Yes. So I got into real estate about several years ago.
Okay.
And I originally went to my current broker.
Cool.
I went to her for advice because I hadn't seen her. Now I'm 30 years old.
Okay.
But I hadn't seen her until I approached her first. I hadn't seen her since I was probably 9 years old because she worked with my mom. That's how I knew of her.
Oh.
So after my mom was like, okay, you want to go ask her for some, motivation, any like tips she has for you? And I was like, okay. So I went to her and I spoke with her and I was like, I'm getting into this now. And she was like, well, I normally take people that do the class with me, but would you like a spot here? And I was like, let me go check with these other places first and then I'll get back to you. And after I checked with them, I realized that was where I belonged.
And that was, so you were in your 20s doing real estate. I bet that was fun.
Yeah. Especially for me, like
Mhm.
normally I would be like all around the place from
Yeah.
North to South Florida. Like
Okay.
you might call me like one time I'm in Miami, like 7 hours later, I'm like in Gainesville any day.
So I know a quadriplegic in Miami, and she sells condos because she can zoom into the condos and get in and out. And I
Is her
know
name Sabrina?
Sabrina, yeah,
I know
Sabrina
her.
Cohen. You know her? She's so cool.
Yeah.
She is so
Yeah.
cool. So I
She
know that
is one of my mentors.
she is. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, well, you got the best one over there. That's so cool. So before you got injured, what kind of real estate were you predominantly selling? Did you have a specialty?
Mostly residential.
So homes or townhomes or all above?
Yeah. I'm buying or selling or renting. Yeah.
Okay, so when you got injured, what was your mindset like in regards? We can talk about everything. Let's talk about employment. What were you even thinking? Were you going to go back into real estate? Did you think, okay, I can still do this?
Well, when I woke up out of the coma I was in,
Oh, wow.
I did not even recognize my mother.
Oh, my God.
So, and I
Wow.
couldn't talk or anything. So like over time I worked my way, like memories started coming back to me and stuff.
Thank
And then
God.
my voice started coming in and stuff. So
Wow. How long were
yeah.
you in a coma for?
2 days.
That's crazy. I know those comas can just be so crazy to wake up from, and waking up paralyzed, and they tell you all this stuff. And I mean,
I'm telling you, it's so crazy
yeah,
because I feel myself getting more and more past it now.
yeah.
But in the very beginning, I had this thing of like derealization going on. And in the hospital, I would be like, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're dreaming. You're having a nightmare.
Oh, I know, woman. I feel you. Life is crazy, isn't it, when you have these
Yeah.
injuries? But you're beautiful. I'll
And
say
I knew
that.
nothing about it. I knew nothing about it prior.
Oh, I
And I
know,
was
right?
shocked. I was shocked.
This is the thing. See, I feel like the public school systems in this country don't teach enough about paralysis, right? I didn't know
Yeah.
anything.
And
Yeah.
even that you bring that up, it reminds me because I also went, like, I'm finishing my master's now in
Yeah.
like clinical mental health therapy. And I called my advisor, like, it's sickening that you guys don't at least have 2 classes
Yeah.
on paralysis.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I had no idea when I broke my neck how permanent it was going to be. My mom always said, don't dive into this lake, Tiffany. You're going to get hurt and you'll be in a wheelchair. And I really had
Yeah.
no idea what that meant. I thought, well, I'll be in a wheelchair for a month, like a cast on your arm.
Yeah.
And I had no concept of a spinal cord and how it works. And I think if more people knew, they'd be a lot more careful, maybe. At least I would have been. So,
Yeah.
but with you,
I mean, I look at it in a way, it's like it wasn't about being more careful for me
yeah,
because it was just like a random, like I wasn't at fault or
I
anything.
know your car
But like
accident.
I figure it's one of those things where I tell my friends these days now, I'm like, I'm not surprised it happened to me because I do like to take calculated risks.
Oh no. You do, huh? I
Yeah.
know people get injured. I know a skydiver who got injured skydiving on his whatever
hmm
1,000th jump, and finally the parachute
Yeah.
didn't work,
And it's like,
But
how are you ever gonna really achieve something if you don't take a risk?
the life is all about risks. Woman, okay, so are you a C2? What level injury are you?
C4.
C4.
So
Okay.
my cord was punctured at C4 and my vertebrae broke at C3.
C3. Okay. Wow.
hmm
Now, did you do any of your rehabilitation at the University of Miami and the Miami Project and all of that?
Well, Jackson Hospital, they work with them. So
Oh, that's where it goes. Okay,
yeah,
I know it's really good down there.
yeah.
Okay, so well, that's crazy. I know it's. Can you move your arms a little bit, or is it pretty hard at this
Like
point?
my forearms,
Okay, that's
somewhat.
good. That's good. That's good. Hey, you know what? And you're still newly injured.
Before I couldn't do anything. I
How
couldn't
long?
do anything. I couldn't even like when I got discharged and came home, I
Yeah.
would just be staring up in the ceiling because I
Oh my
couldn't.
God. And how many months did it take to finally get some shoulder and bicep movement going on?
I don't even know.
It takes like sometimes a year, maybe 6 months. The nerves are so weird in every person.
Yeah.
But they always say after 2 years, then you're not going to see anything. But that's not true because I know people that have gone.
I've met plenty of people in the community.
No.
And they have made me, I don't even think about that.
Yeah. And you should try to get involved.
And even people now that I know, they've been injured for like 23 years and stuff. And like, I'll observe them going through like their own new discoveries and stuff now. And I'm like, look at that.
Yeah, it's true. I will say this is kind of TMI, but I just started wearing deodorant this year after 27 years.
Nothing is TMI with me. Nothing is TMI.
Well, here's the deal. I got paralyzed when I was 14, and your sweat glands get paralyzed, so you don't have to wear deodorant really anymore. And after all these years, I've never had to wear deodorant until this year. And suddenly my sweat glands are working again. And I don't understand
Look at that.
it. But that's what happens. I think sometimes the spinal cord decides to heal little areas. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, you're cool. All right, so living in Miami, at least you're in somewhere warm too. I'm in Minnesota. I wish I was somewhere warm.
Oh man, every day is a constant debate with my dad over the air conditioner. And I told him, wait, the next house that we get, it will be controllable from my phone.
Yes, you need that. You can just talk to it.
Yes.
Do you like it? Are you colder now that you're paralyzed? Do you find that it's harder to get
prior to the injury? And everybody around me that knows me really well, they always knew I'm very sensitive to the cold. Much less now. Oh my gosh.
I know. I hate it. I get cold.
Sometimes I'm so cold I can't talk.
Oh, you need a neck warmer, and you can put it on your head. That's what I do. I put it on my head. Electric
I'm gonna
blanket.
look into that.
And it feels really good because it feels like it's all over your whole body, even though you can't feel your legs that great anymore. But I'll turn it on low and put it over my head and around my shoulders, and then I watch my shows at night in bed, and it's very, very relaxing. I'll like fall asleep. So
I'm gonna look into it.
Okay. So all right. So real estate now. Did you work for an agency before your injury, and did they still keep you on, or were you doing freelance?
Yes, they did. They still kept me on.
That is amazing. I feel like some people worry about, employers not being open-minded to the disabled, employees. Did you feel like your people were really cool right away, or how did that go?
They are, and like I said, because I knew her from my childhood,
So
it was at that moment I was like, okay, I'm guessing this is the reason why we stuck.
That's so cool. And now, how do you do it from home, or are you going out still to the?
So, as of right now, I haven't been doing the showings since like the whole like pandemic thing and stuff. But the way that we work it out, I handle everything else, and I just like pay another agent, and he goes to do the showings for me.
Okay, I don't know anything about real estate, so what's everything else? What's everything else?
So I schedule like the showing times.
Okay.
I get the code to enter the properties if no one's in there.
Yeah.
I do the contracts.
Oh yeah.
All of that.
Cool. And so, has the pandemic affected the industry at all down there? Real estate?
It did in the very beginning, but right now I'm noticing like it's like easing a bit.
That's cool. That's cool. And now, what kind of computer stuff do you like to use? For work?
I am an Apple lady.
Oh, you are.
Lo and behold, last year in about July, they just came out with a brand new accessibility voice control.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That right there, prior to the injury, technology was my best friend. And now technology is basically my child.
That's everything for you. That's so cool. So you use the Apple computer, or do you have a laptop?
The laptop, the iPad, and the phone.
And the phone. You got it all. So, and when you have that, you don't need any other programs really to communicate with your computer?
Nope, not at all. I even went through a process when I was getting back into school, and the disability center was sending me like resources to help me, and I tried their voice control thing for like 7 minutes, and I was like, nope, give me Apple.
Apple's the best. I know. I've heard good things. I haven't tried the Apple version yet, but
it's been really good for me.
Well, I'm glad that it's working out so well for you. Now, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I think people are probably curious in terms like workload. Like, are you working every day? Is it full-time, part-time, that kind of thing? I think, people that are paralyzed are always afraid to kind of jump into it,
Yeah. So, well, I surely didn't jump into it
Yeah.
after my injury. Like over time, as I felt like my body like evolving,
Okay.
then I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I started out even, oh my gosh, the way that I would practice, like using the voice control on my phone when they first came out of it, I would mess with my parents and like make them flyers, and I would joke with them and be like, yeah, I'm going to post this flyer on the internet that you're looking for a boyfriend, Dad. But I would do that to practice,
And what did he say when you said that? Was he enjoy it?
Well, to this day, he still believes that I could do that, and I use it if I need it. Like, for example, if I'm like, Dad, can you come transfer me? And he has me waiting on my back for like over half an hour. I'm like, do you want me to send out your flyer?
That's very clever. That's very clever.
Yeah.
Man, okay. So, any last parting words? I mean, you have a new injury, so I know you have a lot to advice maybe, but you're still going through it too. But, for someone that's even more newly injured than you and is thinking, I'm never going to go back to work, that's just going to be stupid. I mean, what do you feel? What do you get out of going back to work? It must be fulfilling, right? To go back and do stuff.
Yeah. I like, as soon as I started back, I was like, wow, this was what was missing.
Right.
And I didn't even realize it.
Yeah. Just being busy and feeling like, like I love to work. I work from home too, and I get up and I'm doing my thing every day. If I didn't have my job, I don't know what I would do with myself. So
Yeah.
that's cool. All right. Well, I hope that you keep getting more movement and getting out there. And I don't know. I would love to check back in with you, Alex, to see how you're doing.
Surely.
I feel like with people who are newly injured and spinal PD, we're always trying to help people with new injuries. So I think
I'm always ready to learn, because this is the first instance where I came into something knowing absolutely nothing about it.
I know it's not like, and most people don't know anything about it unless, and they have a family member that becomes paralyzed, but it's quite the crash course, isn't it? In learning everything. Yeah.
But something that worked out for me being so newly injured is that the whole world is more virtual right now.
Isn't that true? I know.
So I feel like I lucked out in that aspect. Like going back into it.
Yeah, you can have access to so many things from home now virtually.
Yeah.
I'm loving that. I know.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll stick around even once they find a vaccine. I'm liking the doctor home visits, telemedicine. That's pretty nice. So, all right. Well, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk later. Okay.
Yes, we will keep in touch.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye.